you might be wondering, the question that's initially posed, can I retire this year? Can I still retire this year with all the market up and downs? That's what a lot of folks who had thought 2025 was their year, maybe they were like, December 31st, it's going to be a heck of a New Year's party because
it's going to be so great.
I'm ringing in 2026 without a job.
It's going to be so great.
Without a job and in the best way possible.
Yeah,
so
all-time highs in the market, just rolling in money like Scrooge McDuck diving through his piles of gold. It's going to be so great.
Except for,
wait,
hang on.
Ruh-roh.
Who said what happened was?
Something's different.
I'm Heather Branch. This is Certified Financial Planner Mike Douglas, also known as Michigan's retirement coach, here to help us understand what we need to be thinking about, working on, and doing to double check that we still can retire in 2025, Mike, because let's see, over 4 million people this year alone are turning age 65.
Peak 65. Look it up.
65. All the boomers are ready to cash in. They are saying, we've done it. We have raised our kids. We have put in our time. We have paid our taxes. We want a vacation that hopefully lasts 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. So how do you know if you are actually ready to do it? I have to imagine. I mean, you get asked every single year. It's the job. Can I retire this year, Mike? What year can I retire? When can I do it? And certainly there are things that you go through with every person that you meet to say, well, let's find out. So, and we always talk about, we don't like giving blanket advice, but there is some general things, some general rules of thumb that everybody needs to have awareness. So let's talk about a good checklist.
Yeah.
Break it down for us, please, sir.
Yeah. So if you're talking about retiring, there's an emotional checklist or your right brain checklist, and there's a logical left brain financial checklist. So let's work through these because they need each other. They both need to be satisfied. And at the same time, a lot of times we work on one and not the other. I'll start with the emotional right brain checklist, okay? Number one, are you emotionally ready to walk away from work? Now, work gives us purpose. The beautiful thing about work, and we were just talking about this off the podcast, about just the joy of a grind and the joy of work and the joy of putting your body and your mind and physically into something to build or grow or create something or to serve people or to love people, whatever you do for a living. And then I retire. Am I ready to emotionally let go of that purpose? That's number one. Number two follows right out of that. What do I retire into? Right? So not just retiring from work, but I need to retire towards something else. I need a new purpose. I need a new joy, a new way to serve or be part of something. That doesn't mean go back to work necessarily. It could mean I'm retiring to finally being able to spend time with my wife because I've been traveling, or my husband because I've been working, or with my kids and grandkids because they moved. And now I got to go see them. It could be whatever, but what is the dream and vision you're retiring towards? And then number three, it kind of falls in line with that. As we start living this new life, so I've retired from work, I retired towards some new purpose, travel, family, whatever. As I do that, my accounts are going to potentially start depleting. Can I emotionally handle that? Because while we're working,
that one thing alone requires a lot of mental preparation and unpacking, because you have been for 40, sometimes 50 years doing nothing but working to accrue and save and watch it grow. And you get a lot of joy and pride from that accomplishment in your life. And all of a sudden, just one day you leave the working world and suddenly you're supposed to just be comfortable with just letting this money fly out the window.
Well, and normally the account goes down because the market's going down. So what do? Throw more money into it or just wait it out because I don't need it right now. But now I'm taking money out to live off of.
You're doing it to yourself.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted. And then the market goes down. So now it's down and I'm taking from it. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the ride. But can I emotionally, am I ready for that? Just preparing, set the table, be ready for that.
Yeah.
And the last thing, have you really talked to your spouse of what life's going to look like now? Right? Because I think most people don't just say, hey, by the way, honey, I retired yesterday. Right? We worked through that.
Yeah.
But what does life look like when now all of a sudden we're together all the time?
Yeah.
Right. I love my wife so much. Kimberly's the best. And I love my kids. I really do. We were talking about this too. Like everything I do is building my life around my kids and my wife. I love it.
Yep.
At the end of a week vacation, we drive 14 hours or drive 12 hours or 10 hours, whatever. I think we went to Branson recently. Drove 12 hours to Branson. Loved it. Stopped at Buc-ee's on the way down. Got food and brisket. We get down there. We enjoy a beautiful week. We drive back up. We stop at Buc-ee's again and then Wally's. And then we end up back home after a week. And I'm like, I am ready to go back to work. And I love my family so much, but I'm not used to being around them all the time.
Yeah.
And 4 kids talking all the time. And my wife and I talking all the time. It's just a lot of communication I'm not used to. And I go back to work and I'm like, oh, okay. Like everything settles back in. And then the next time I'm like, man, I cannot wait to go on vacation with my kids and my wife.
Yeah.
When you retire, we're together all the time. And our house is all of a sudden smaller because now everywhere I go, she's there or he's there. And all those things you work through. I had a client, he retired and he was working for GM. And right before he retired, he got moved down towards Ohio and had to work 5 days a week in Ohio. Okay. So he would drive down either early Monday morning or late Sunday night. Mm-hmm. He had an apartment that they got him down there. And so he would stay there through the week. And then Friday night after work, he'd drive home. So he was home Friday night late, Saturday, and then Sunday, and then go back to it again for the last 4 years of his work life. So she's home by herself all week, not even him coming home from work. And then he retires and comes home. And they're both so excited about it. And they're going to finally get to be together more often. Now, his job at GM was a quality control inspection, and he's an engineer. His job is to look for inefficiencies and problems and fix them. He got paid professionally to do it. And he was really good at it. And so he comes home and moves back in. And when he moves back in and he's living at home, he just starts doing what his brain does. He starts fixing things that he sees as inefficient or a problem.
I see a problem here.
He started in the kitchen.
Oh, no.
Tupperware shouldn't be over there. It should be over here. I don't know why we got the spatulas over here. They should be over here. Starts rearranging stuff.
And then she goes to make herself some lunch, and she's like, where are my spatulas?
Yeah, it went great for about 2 weeks. And then at the end of the second week, she's like, I love you. You got to go. You got to do something else. Go find something. I will
divorce you if we do not figure out.
You got to go tinker somewhere else. Like, you can't tinker in my space. I've been doing just fine without you. So he works part-time doing bike repair and all this stuff. And I love it. And again, they're a wonderful couple. They love each other so much.
Yeah.
But we're just here all the time together. And he's a busy guy. So he's fixing riding bikes, doing all this stuff. Why? It keeps him busy, gives him that new purpose that he, retired from work, retired towards this. And at the same time, the balance is back and they're okay. Right.
Yep.
So that's the emotional side. It's a whole different conversation than the left brain side, which is all logical. Do I have a good strategy for how I get income? If the market's good, how do I get good income? If the market's bad, how do I get good income? If inflation rises, how do I get good income to account for that? A really good detailed strategy, whether you're using, a certain rule of 4 or 5%, a dividend or preferred stocks, an annuity, whatever you use. Do I have a good strategy for income that makes sense? Mm-hmm. Next up, number 2, do I have an investment plan that is built for me now?
Okay.
Right? Because like we said, all of a sudden, I'm not working anymore. And I'm not throwing more money in the accounts anymore. And the market starts losing. And I'm no longer thinking this is a buying opportunity. Now you should, right? Our philosophies and our mentality should not change that much about the market. A down market does not mean freak out. It doesn't mean bail, but it does mean be aware of withdrawals. And it does mean be aware of how much is okay to lose at this phase of my life. Or do I still have the same old investment strategy that I had at 30 years old, which is just ride it, don't bail, don't do anything. Like, you just need to make sure it's really specific for who you are now, not who you used to be, and that it makes sense. Number 3, have a good tax strategy for the future, for the next 10 to 15 years. Look at taxes as an opportunity. I live in the net. I live in what's left after the government takes their cut. So if I take money out of my IRAs, is that going to trigger taxes on my Social Security? If I take money out of my IRAs to remodel the kitchen, do my Medicare premiums go up? Does it affect our ability to gift or to give things to family or grandkids? How does that money stretch out? All these different things. Taxes are part of our life. The whole rule is know the rules, live within the rules, play within the rules, and win within the rules. So you can't cheat the system, but you don't have to contribute an ignorance tax because you didn't know the rules. Just build strategies, not just looking back at last year, but for the next 10 to 15 years. How do we do everything we've ever dreamt of doing? How do we do it the most tax efficient way as possible and keep the money inside the family and out of the government's hands? That's the third thing. And the fourth thing, the final thing, is a good estate plan. A good estate plan puts a bow on all the years of work. If you don't have a proper estate plan in place, and as a result, your assets go through probate, and the taxes and all these other things, you end up losing $50,000 out of your estate, right? Mm-hmm. That is a common story for those who don't have a good estate plan in place. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a will and like a trust and all these complicated things, but you need to address what happens when you die, so that way your family gets the money and the government and the probate courts don't. Think about how long it took to earn your first $50,000 in your 401ks.
Yeah.
It wasn't overnight. It wasn't your first year. It may have taken you 5 to 10 years to get 50 grand in your first 401k.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's uncomfortable to talk about death, or you don't want to spend the 3 grand on a trust or the 5 or whatever it is, because I don't want to have that conversation, the government gets to rip 50 grand before it ever gets to my kids. Mm-hmm. And it's not just $50,000. It's the fact that it took me almost 10 years to get that money to begin with, or 5 years, or however the timeline is.
Yeah.
And now, because I don't want to have a difficult conversation, the government gets it, not my family. Just put a bow on all the work. Keep it inside your family. Do things the right way. So, number 1, an income plan. 2, an investment plan with risk management appropriate. 3, a tax strategy. And 4, a good estate plan. That's how we protect everything. We just have a client who's going through this right now. We built a plan for her and her husband for years, and it was all set. And then last January, he started not feeling well while working outside. And then next thing you know, 6 months later, he passes away. And now this life suddenly changed from what we will be doing for the next 20 years to what I am going to do and how I live. How am I taxed? How am I getting income? What do I do with this house? What do I do with our family and our kids? It's a whole different model. Yeah. And to walk through that with her and say, I understand, because now we're still dealing with left brain and right brain. Right brain has a whole set of feelings that's dealing with the fact that I just lost the person I love and I've given my life to. Mm-hmm. And my other side of my brain, my left brain, is saying, wait a minute, does this change everything? And we got to recalibrate our positions. So can I retire? Should I retire? There's a lot that goes into it. But know this, it's a conversation, it's a dialogue, it's not a destination, it's part of a journey. Retire to something, retire with the good strategies in place, and protect both the emotional and the logical side of your life. That way you could do everything you've ever dreamt of doing.
That's the goal. That's why you're here. Please help us figure it out, Mike, because even though it's simple enough to break down all these things in a 15-minute quick podcast conversation, when it comes to outlining it all to a person on an individual or for a couple on their individual basis, obviously takes a little bit longer. Got to understand what your goals are. So let's get to work helping you figure it out. If you have questions, if you are realizing that what you don't have a retirement plan, you have a 401k, you've got some savings, that's great, but that's not a retirement plan. You need to know all of these different elements that are involved emotionally and financially. And at LifePlan Financial Design, they can help you with all of those things. So find us at michigansretirementcoach.com. Let's get to work helping you come up and have the understanding of all of these things you need to do with your spouse, by the way, a very important element of that conversation. Mike and his team are here to help you. We also have links posted in the show notes. So again, find us anytime. Get started on the conversation. michigansretirementcoach.com.